Hey there, folks. Welcome to Advisory. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys all had a good first day back yesterday. I know it can be crazy trying to get used to getting up for school again and going through all the processes and remembering where all your rooms are or learning where they are for the first time. So keep asking for help if you need it, if you don't know where to go. Today, we're going to continue our series on how
To be a Longhorn.
And today we're going to continue that conversation by talking about ID badges and building safety.
ID badge is building safety. When it comes to staying safe, you know it's not a maybe. Every time you see it open, you got to close the door. If you want to know more, hey, let me tell you more.
These are all of the policies that we have in place to make sure that WT White continues to be a safe and positive environment to learn. So sometimes things like an ID badge might seem silly, but it actually goes a long way in keeping the building safe by identifying everyone who is supposed to be here. By now, pretty much everyone should have an ID. If you don't, you can get one in the front office during lunches. And you should either have a photo ID or a wristband anytime that you're in the building. If you don't have one of those two things, then the people that stop you in the hall may or may not know for sure that you belong here at WT White. And so make sure that you wear your ID badge every day. And then if you forget it or lose it, you make sure you get a temporary badge and then buy yourself a new permanent badge. Along with ID badges, clear backpacks are now a district-wide policy, have been for a couple years. Any student entering a DISD school has to have a clear or mesh backpack. We have one clear backpack at least for everybody in the building, and so you should get one from us. But if you lose it or if it breaks, we don't have that many extras. And so you will be responsible for providing one of your own. But make sure whenever you get to school, whenever you're walking up to the metal detectors, walking up to whatever entrance you're going into, that you have both your ID and that all of your belongings are in a clear bag of some sort. Doors, turns out, are very important when it comes to keeping a place safe, especially from outside intruders. All outer doors of the building must remain closed and locked at all times. Any student or visitors must only enter through the front entrance. Students may only use other doors while exiting the building at the end of the day, but students should never open doors to let someone in from the outside. No exceptions. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's a buddy that you know, that you can see, and you know that they're a student here. Does not matter. It is completely unsafe to open those doors to the outside to let people in because you just never know. If they're a visitor, they have to be checked in with the front office. And if they're a student who has gotten outside of the building, they need to go all the way to the front to go back into the front door. So if you ever see a door that is open or unlocked to the outside, make sure you tell somebody or just shut the door, making sure that nobody can come in. We will have a number of all building safety drills throughout the year, things for fire drills or tornado drills or storm drills, lockdown drills, all sorts of stuff. Students are expected to listen carefully to the instructions, both from the loudspeaker and from your teacher. When we are doing a drill where the entire building needs to move, like it's a fire drill and everybody has to get out, or it's a tornado drill and we all have to go to a specific location, make sure to do so calmly and as quickly as possible without running anybody over, and maintain a peaceful attitude during the drill as well as the real life situations that the drills prepare us for. We will talk much more about social media later down the line this year, maybe at multiple points. And you may be wondering why social media is in the building safety section. And that is because social media is where a lot of conversations happen between people. And sometimes that conversation can be negative and it can lead itself to real life consequences or even fights. So, for multiple reasons, but including building safety, it's important that all Longhorns help create a positive culture in our community, which extends to how we talk to each other online. Students should not engage in online bullying or other unsafe online interactions. In our world today, how you act online very often translates to what happens in the real life. So just keep that in mind as you are trying to be a positive user of any social media. Okay, let's talk about fights. First of all, don't do it. That may seem obvious, but do not engage in any sort of verbal or physical altercations or fights under any circumstances. All right. I understand that people are human and we understand that conflict and tension can arise between two people. But in that moment, it is not appropriate to take it out on each other in any sort of fight. In that moment, it's important to regulate our emotions and seek peaceful solutions. And if you can't do that with the person that you are talking to, then you need to seek help from our counselors or maybe Miss Johnson in the Reset Center. It's also very important in the event that a fight does break out that people do not go crazy and gather around them and film them and start egging it on. That is when things get really, really dangerous because when it comes to the actual fight, it becomes difficult for the adults to get to the fighters and to break things up and to get things separated. But it also just raises the emotion of the fight to a crazy level to where it'll just get worse. So it's important that if you see a fight happening, that you do not get out your phone and start filming, you do not cheer it on, that you go, you find an adult, and then you clear the area. Any student who engages in shouting or encouraging or filming those who are fighting will be subject to disciplining along with those who fought. So keep in mind, if you have a problem with somebody, fighting is not the answer. There are always ways around it. And if there is a fight, if you are a bystander, you need to find someone who can help and then leave the area immediately. All right, so those are the things in the handbook that have to do with building safety. I want you to briefly have this discussion on the next slide about building safety and reiterate to each other why it's so important that we have ID badges, that we keep our doors closed, and that we keep the building safe. After that, you'll be playing the name game again, this time with your B-Day advisory so that you can get to know them. Make sure that everybody is pronouncing the name correctly and that you are introducing yourself with the name that you would like to be called. That's all from me for today. Enjoy that discussion and this game. Be good to yourself and others, and I'll see you tomorrow.